So if the fresh paint on the walls didn't get your attention, or the fact that you now practically bounce into the sanctuary because of our new carpet did not warrant notice, look at these. The stonework of our church now shines for all to see. The church is gorgeous. You can almost feel those masons of old measuring and choosing rock after rock and stacking them up on that side. This is veneer. Shh. The church is literally now a beacon, a jaw-dropping beacon that welcomes people into the center of this town. Oh, and you can actually walk around it at night now without feeling like your next step might be into a very scary movie. Last year, Michelle Scherr looked at me and she said, "You're going to hate me." She says that a lot. "You're going to hate me. I have an idea." And if you're around Michelle at all, you realize very quickly she has a lot of ideas. And they're really good ideas, and the only thing I ever really hate about them is the fact that they always mean that she's going to add on to the fact that she, like the rest of the staff, is already working too hard. Well, she'd been to Princeton, and she'd been invited to come and spend some time with some other youth leaders, and she came home with the idea for Spark Teams, a program that would help kids find their passion for ministry, and then act on that interest in a way that helps others and speaks the gospel. Less than a year later, we are in the Lutheran. It's in your bulletin today. And the tale of young people sharing God's love through Spark Teams is being told to the national church, held up to them as an example of the power of young people, the power young people have when they have leadership and the love of Christ. See this here? This is beautiful. And we love it. But that is not the church. Friday night, at the ordination service, you could not swing a dead cat in this place without hitting a pastor or some other kind of church professional. The procession into the church. Well, the line started with Gretchen and Mackenzie kind of in the doorway back there, and then the choir was right at the sound booth, and the line for the procession went all the way back to the bishop who was standing outside the men's room. And people were walking in pairs. And I have to admit, the connections that night for me were kind of mind-blowing. One of my first bosses, the Reverend Ken Stempt, was here. He's 90. Spry, alert. Oh, it was great to see him. And he was here because while a lot of you know Pastor Dick Gives Sr., Ken is the other grandpa of the young man who got ordained. And I went to school with his parents, the young man's parents, not Ken's. And then I found out that this young man served as an intern for Bill Weiser, one of my closest friends from seminary. Someone, Bill and his wife Gwen, Frida and Scott Noon and Becky Noon and I, we all hung out for years together. It seemed like everywhere I turned on Friday night, there was another memory that added to the levels of the celebration. And what you all did to help with that service and that reception, if you helped, it was remarkable, and I thank you so much. A choir of over 20 people on a Friday night in August? Really? Ushers and parking lot folks telling people where to park, helping people get seated, hauling chairs. We had 300 or so visitors on Friday night, and none of them knew where the bathroom was. A reception that can only be termed beautiful and generous, young acolytes giving up their first Friday night of the school year. Our tech crew put together an amazing visual presentation that was talked about all evening. The sound was handled masterfully. Jess Kling and Bill Wright filled every hymn with gorgeous accompaniment. I can't tell you how many guests said to me, the service was amazing and your hospitality overwhelming. This year, this is beautiful and we love it, but this is not the church. I was away a lot this summer, more than I really wanted to be, because I made plans before I found out we were going to be short-staffed. I even tried to cancel one of my vacations because I just felt bad not being here. But it was too expensive a proposition, and I did decide along the way that I did want to remain married. And in that time, one of our oldest members hit a bad stretch, a really bad patch. And he doesn't have a lot of family in the area, and so he really didn't have anyone to care for him. Except he did. His friends in the seasoned men's group found him when he got sick, cleaned him up, got him to the doctor, got him to the hospital, got him to all of his appointments, got him to the dentist when he needed to go there. When it became time to go to the nursing home for some rehab, they got him there. And then 2 days into his stay, when he got grumpy and packed his bag, and he was ready to blow that popsicle stand, another one of our members, who's the social worker there, talked him down and got him to give it a couple more days. And when he was ready to come home, those men were there again. They made sure he got home. They kept visiting him. They took care of him until his daughter was finally able to come down south and take him home with her. This group did more than I could ever have done, even if I'd been here the whole time. And along with another caring member of our staff who will kill me if I say her name. I can say her because on staff right now, unless it's me, well, they really saved the day. They lived the gospel for their friend. They let their lights shine. This year, this is beautiful. And we love it. But that's not the church. If you ever get to go to Rome, it seems like there's a church on every block. There almost is. And every one seems more magnificent than the last. And don't get me wrong, these buildings are a treasure. They are gorgeous. But it's so odd to think that a movement started by a Jewish rabbi speaking to people in fields and by lakesides resulted in buildings like this. You look at the marble, you look at the gold leaf, you look at the artwork, and you think, how did we get here? And it's inspiring. But that's not the church. At one point in the scriptures, Jesus looks at Simon, who has just said that he believes Jesus to be Son of the Most High God. And Jesus says to him, "Blessed are you, Simon, for human beings have not told you this, but rather it has been revealed to you by my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are now Peter," which means rock. "And on this rock I will build my church." The confession of a human being becomes the cornerstone of what Jesus was building. A human community. We need you to love your church building, because we need a place to gather. And yeah, we gotta pay for all the pretty stuff we're doing to restore and improve it. But this building, this is not Trinity. This building is named after Trinity. We are the descendants, by blood and by spirit, of that group that first gathered about 200 years ago when a guy named Muhlenberg rode into this area and they had worship. We are what God has called us to be, a community gathered around Scripture and the Holy Sacraments. We are what Jesus has created us to be and continues the hands and feet of God. Whether your gift is outreach and you help with power packs or Water Street or help make dresses for Africa, whether your gift is cooking and caring for this community, whether your gift is music or caring for our young, whether your gift is service outside of this place, whether your gift is giving to sustain this community, whether your gift is being part of the glue that holds the place together, whether your gift is making sure that this place where we gather is still standing, you are Trinity. You are the church. And like the old song says, we are the church together. As we begin this new program year, I want to thank you for making this a joyous place to be church. And as we lift each other up, let's remember in the days ahead to spread the gospel, to spread the joyous truth that through the arms of Jesus, the open arms of Christ, we are all, every one of us,